everyone, Only Man here with a new ride-along video. I will actually be co-casting this video with a clan member of mine, Javrak. Javrak, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, just do a quick introduction about yourself.
My name's Javrak, Icarus with a clan called SAC with Only Man and others, and we've done some competitive scene. And in a typical match, you're going to find stuff for shooting a gun, not too much on the flying, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Been in the competitive scene for a while.
Alright, cool. Thank you for that. And again, with last video, we'll kind of be going over what was good with the video, or with the gameplay, what was bad, how we can improve upon things, and just highlighting some things of interest that we think might be applicable to you guys that are looking to become a little bit better, a little bit more into the competitive scene of Guns of Icarus. And with that, let's start now. All right. So I went in this. For me, I decided to choose a MetaJunker, two Arties, Hades, Gat, Mortar, normal stuff. So nothing too interesting there.
Greased ammo.
Yeah, go ahead. And I'll just go ahead and fast forward until we see some interesting things. Oh, well, here we go. So that's the one thing I saw that was really interesting. That Junker kind of disregarded the fact that he had teammates and was like, I'm going to go ahead and insert myself in here.
Right. That's typically how it works most of the time.
Yeah, so...
unfortunately, in pub matches.
One thing to take away from this, if you guys are a little bit newer to the game, games don't have to last 5 minutes. They can go on for a while. So especially in a junker is a very patient ship. You're not going to see a good junker try to insert themselves into the fight early. A junker is a very reactive ship and very patient. It's not the one usually to bring the aggression. It's usually one that responds. So he did a good job by backing off, but I think Junktown Dog did start to become very very frisky with me. All right, so this was
yeah. And I mean, in a 3v3, you don't want to be too aggressive.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Okay,
because all it takes is your teammates to slow down or the enemies to aggress a little bit, and the next thing you know, it's 3v1 for you.
Yeah, and even 2v1 is bad. 3v1, a lot more so. Alright, there we go. We're back on. Sorry for that, guys. I was playing this time during a time of internet down for me due to my apartment complex, so that'll happen, I think, once or twice more in the video. But it's not going to affect the gameplay too much. Alright, here I believe I did make a big mistake. I should have gone ahead and turned to and got my close range side up and started to move ahead of the Poseidon to kind of cut him off, as well as make sure that he wasn't able to keep broadsides. This will eventually kill me because of that mistake. There were some other things. I think my engineer missed a chem spray and then ended up, so that wasn't able to get repaired. So this
and a meta side junker brawl out, it's basically going first.
Yeah, that definitely.
Because it only takes a couple of mortars to drop the ship. So.
Oh yeah, junker. It has the advantage of having a very small hull, but if you're able to shoot it, it does quite a bit of damage, as you just saw. So definitely a mistake on my part. I should have been a lot more intuitive with that situation, and I did pay for it. So, but now one thing that the junker that did kill me is, look where he's at. He is deep into enemy territory with two of my guys about to face on him. So whenever you're going in for a kill, you don't want to die. unless it's the game winning. Yeah.
Trading kills is no good.
Exactly. Unless it's the game winning kill, which it won't matter. But
right.
You'll see what happens. I mean, sure, they got a point on their board, but we're about to get a point on our board very, easy. 3v1 right now, exactly like you said. You're way out of position.
Yep, and this is exactly what you don't want to happen.
Exactly. Yeah, a junker is not a tank. It is not a tanky ship. It does good at what's supposed to, but it's not doesn't do what's not supposed to do. That makes sense.
A lot of people think that because it has a high armor that it is a tanky ship, but
Definitely not.
the second you repair it, you're on cooldown. So
Look what happened. One single merc shot was able to take that, probably from a quarter health to dead.
yeah, and that's another thing. Junker has a slim pro. That Moby is just a flat platform, and if you get a Moby on you like that, it's pretty devastating.
Exactly, and I know that if you're able to line up your guns right, you can shoot 4 guns if the pilot is on a gun as well with the Mobula, and that could equal potentially a 20-second kill, which is crazy. That's a single ammo clip for most ships.
Richard's ship, the Hades Funhouse. It's three Hades that all line up, and then you can get an Artemis in there as well.
Oh yeah, nuts! 3 Hades and Artemis, it will kill you really quickly. All right, so that was another unfortunate network issue, but looks like didn't affect that much. He was already dead, so. So here I think, we're in a pretty good spot, but eventually we'll start to we don't stay together and we all die singularly. So definitely a fault by me and the other captains.
And you can see the gat spray coming out there.
Hey, that's if you're not in close, don't shoot your gat because you're just giving yourself away. If I could have potentially had guns on him before I even had spots, just because he was spraying, and and if you're a junker and you're shooting gat, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna hit where you are. You have a very large profile.
Yeah, and you're not moving very fast either.
Exactly,
so.
And
even if all you do is catch a balloon, you'll still that's where they're at.
Yeah, and then you can just adjust a little bit upon that and start trying to shoot for the hole. So it was a good idea, I think, and a bad idea. It was a good idea because they were all, charging one target. What? It was a bad idea because the junkers are trying to shoot like they're a pyramidian.
Here's the thing is that, alright, he started backing up there. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then he stops backing up and starts moving back in.
Oh, the Mobula? Yeah, that was definitely a mistake. I think this kills him. Like a Mobula is like a junker. It doesn't have a lot, and unlike a junker, it's a lot harder to maintain as well as keep guns firing.
Because that was a dangerous overextended there that just happened to pay off, and then he was almost scot-free back. He went back in.
He paid off not because of something he did right necessarily, but because what the junkers did wrong. So he was just able to abuse the fact that they made a mistake, but
he got lucky. But then he almost then changed position and went back in. It's like,
yeah. So definitely, if you're in a junker, you don't want to necessarily charge a target. You're trying to orbit a target to make sure that you can, especially a junker like this, a MetaJunker, you want to be using your long-range guns the most. Your short-range guns are only for a oh shit circumstance. That's not the main point of you being there. Because if that was, you might as well use a Pyramidian. But you're trying to orbit targets and provide long-range support. So running in there like that, definitely not. Because a junker doesn't run in. Because a junker has guns on its side. It's like a galleon, running in. It doesn't.
Yeah, the junker's kind of like a fencer. They get in the, they can just dance around the target because they spin really, really well. They don't go very fast, but they can get into your blind spot really easily and take advantage of your mistakes.
Yeah, and that's definitely why it led to popularity as a competitive ship later on, or actually not later on, but a while ago. Whenever double junker was the meta for competitive scene, because two of them being able to dance around a single target would kill it very quickly.
Yeah, it was easy to create 2v1 scenarios.
Exactly. All right, I think that was our Mobula that just died. I was surprised he lived that long, so props to him for not dying immediately, which should have happened, but I think their Pyramidion missed a few mortars. All right, so here just kind of pecking away. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep arcs on. I was trying to maneuver, make sure that our Hades could be gunning, but our Hades gunner was a. One thing I always tell my crews that I have to end up telling my crews, especially if they're novice players, you have unlimited ammo. So especially if you're in a Hades, don't be afraid of taking shots. Take shots. Try to get your aim right. You don't have to just try and eyeball it or from the get-go and try to use your aim sight. No, take some shots, adjust. I mean, Hades has a fairly quick reload.
Yeah. I mean, even skilled players.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you hadn't shot one in a while, you're gonna fire off some.
Yes.
Just to get your tracking right.
Exactly. That's the whole point of the Hades is once you get a lock on where they are, you can just continuously rain giant exploding fireballs on them. So here, unfortunately, my AI gunner, I think I would have been able to finish off Junktown Dog right then and there, but my AI gunner decided to, on my Hades, or on my Artemis, sorry, decided to, no, I'm gonna shoot other things. So we didn't end up getting that kill before our Pyramidion died. This is definitely one of those ships that require. It's all right. This I think. Oh yeah, unfortunately, and that actually kills me. It's the fact that I decided to disconnect at that specific time where I had a Pyramidion charging at me, as one could imagine.
Well, I mean, a lot of times now, it's really dangerous for Pyramidion to charge a Junker because if their hull armor goes down, it's so low now that they're a pretty easy kill.
Oh yeah, a Pyramidion is a burst type ship. It's strongest when it's doing its initial damage. It can't really do sustained fights all that well, which the Junker can in its in preferable situations, but whenever you're getting thrown out of servers like that doesn't necessarily work as well. So here the Poseidon's kind of doing the same thing. He's like I get his mindset. He's wants to stay with his Pyramidion, and that makes sense. But you don't have to hold their hand. Especially as a Junker, you need to be in a position where you can provide the most support with the shortest position change. Basically, I can stay at this area and move as little as possible. Because as you can see, the more I move, the less my gunners are able to hit targets. So ideally, a Junker wants to be in a position where it can control most of the as much as the battlefield as it can from very like singular position. So
and right there, that Moby, I noticed
yeah,
he took a hard ram from that Pyramidion, and Moby have great up and down, and there's really no reason that he should be taking rams from a Pyramidion like that.
Oh, definitely not, because a Pyramidion does not have great up and down. Quite the opposite, actually. Yeah, that Mobula, the way I see Mobula is if it's a short range Mobula, it's a finisher. It goes in with their friendlies and helps to finish the target off, just because of the different kinds of guns it can have. It can have 3 Gats shooting at all the same target, or 2 mortars or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not the kind to do that. No ship is honestly the kind to go in there and do, especially in Mobula. As you see, it dies fairly fast.
Well, I mean, you could do the close range 2 Gat, 1 mortar Mobula with buff hammer and two Artemises on the side just to kind of peck away from range.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the idea behind that ship is you want to have them mostly disabled before you.
Exactly. It's not. it's not a combatant ship. It is a ship just to be able to finish up kills. So here they could have won. They easily could have won if they weren't being narrow at what they were doing. So they were able to let me come in from behind, get my close range side up, and go ahead and finish the Pyramidian, really getting screwed up by our Mobula. I think our Mobula had dual gats on him, so I was able to kill him quickly. So don't underestimate a junker charging, or I wouldn't say charging in at you, but don't underestimate a junker's close quarter side, because it's just as deadly as a Pyramidian. So it does the same thing, and if you have the same ammo, then it will accomplish the task just as easy. So
I think another mistake is a lot of Pyramidians they make, a lot of Pyramidian pilots they make is they think, well, I can just ram the junker and throw his gun arcs off, and it's like, well, yeah, you can for like all of 3 seconds before he turns and has them right back on you.
Exactly. Hey, I mean, a junker with chicken foot, phoenix claw on will turn quite fast and be able to get those guns right back on you. And then with the amount, and then how well it can orbit very well around you. So as you said, staying in your blind spot. A junker is not a close quarters ship, but it can do close quarters well. It's just
you can use like moonshine to stop you from turning, so that if you're turning too fast, you can just stop.
Exactly.
Stop
Yeah.
immediately.
That's I haven't used moonshine in a while, so that's just me not wanting to being crusty old, sticking to my ways, but whatever.
Well, it's just one little pulse just to make it stop.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was actually pretty happy about that game because I was fighting Attach, and Attach is, if you keep up with or you are a competitive pilot, he's part of Riders, who were considered one of the best clans in the game for a while. So it's really nice to be able to wipe the floor a little bit with him. Not necessarily wipe the floor. We almost lost, but he did ignore a junker, driving straight at him and shooting him. So, but anyway, I thought it was I think the enemy team was good in their decision making. I just don't think they were very good mechanically. They didn't understand how to use. If they used 3 Pyramidians, because they were playing their junkers like Pyramidians, I think they would have done a lot better. But just the way that they were trying to make their confrontations and force their engagements was a little not conceived very well. So I think it's just comes down to knowing how to use your ship. Taking time to learn that there are different ships for different purposes. If you want to use a ship a certain way, and it's all
about how you build your loadout, what your teammates are doing, and where you need to be 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Not where you needed to be a few minutes ago to be in the most optimal position, because
Exactly.
Most of the time, by the time you need to be somewhere, if you're not already there, you're too late.
It's definitely game of planning ahead, and that's something I mentioned in my how to be a better competitive pilot video. Is this game, it's not like Call of Duty, it's not like Counter-Strike. You don't have to finish it in 2 minutes. You can take the time to kind of plan out your movements, because one thing, as either you already know or you will learn to know, is a lot of the decisions that you'll see will start to become predictable. You'll start to know, well, they're in this situation, so they're going to do these kind of things. As you saw, they were in a situation where they were trying to be a close quarter type team, the enemy team that is. So it was easy to predict how the junkers would work, how the Pyramidians would work, and how they will react to their environment. So that's definitely one thing to kind of think about. I think that's one thing that our Mobula didn't do as well as they could have. They still did a good job of hitting those people down and staying aggressive, but think ahead a little bit. If I make this decision, if I commit to killing this guy, I'm gonna be surrounded, which is what happened to the Junker initially when he came after me, and it eventually happened to our Mobula. So definitely planning ahead. Take time whenever you play this game. You don't have to rush it. I've been in games I've lasted on
Well,
Canyon like I've had a game that lasts over an hour, just because you end up circling the map over and over and over again. And
but I will also say that sometimes, once you commit to an action, sometimes you just have to follow through.
exactly.
And
Might as well get a kill if you're gonna die, than have nothing to show for it. So
experience comes in with being able to realize, is it one of those situations where I need to not commit and pull back, or if I should commit and just, go for it. And knowing what you can pull off, what your teammates are going to account for, that's where the competitive scene really takes off. Is that, and that's why most of the competitive is two-man teams as well, two ship teams, because it takes a lot of all across the board
oh,
for
exactly.
people to make one work.
Yeah, if you were ever a competitive player or anything, and you've been in the comms or the TeamSpeak with, there is always communication going on. The amount of communication I get in a competitive match between two ships is more than a pub match I do with 4v4s. So two coordinating two ships perfectly is hard enough. To do any more would be it would just lead to sloppy game. Especially one of the ships that I brought with Tropo, who is another pilot in Sacrilege, another competitive pilot, very very accomplished, been around the game for a long time. Is I brought a Spire with a heavy flak, and he brought a double Hades Pyramidion, and that was a loadout. Or those two ships were extremely deadly, but they required so much coordination and so much pre-planning of how you're going to be, where you're going to be, how you're going to engage, and you're not going to. I expect you to expect that in pub matches, but kind of think in that mindset of what I do is going to have a reaction. So let me kind of think about what that reaction might be and predict and kind of base what I do off of what happens there.
Yeah, a lot of times when you notice, um, you'll actually pick a build, and they're looking at what you're picking, and they're already countering you by changing their build.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see people just sit there and counter build the whole match, like the whole
Yeah,
pre-match.
that's so that's why one of the sayings I heard, which I remember was really true, is half the game is already won in the lobby.
Yeah,
Just knowing what they're going to be doing, how to counter that. I know writers are really they would do sudden changes right before the game would start. They'd be like, "Okay, we're gonna change our ship real quick," and it'd be so obnoxious because you set up for a specific build, and for them to just change it. I mean, it's in their full rights to do, but yeah.
I mean, there should definitely, though, in competitive, be some sort of like ship locking.
Oh
So
yeah, I would say the same thing. One thing I suggested was kind of like in in League of Legends, you kind of your call your character or your hero or champion. Yeah, I think it's champion for League of Legends before the game actually starts, and then when the game starts, like you can kind of see what everyone's bringing. So kind of have that same thing. Maybe there'll be a time where you get your ship, as you said, lock it in, and then for like a minute or so, you'd be able to see. Okay, this is what they're bringing. Obviously, we can't change what we have, but we can talk about how to bat that. And
Something they used to do in some of the high-end competitive play would be that if they were playing the best of 3 matches, the first match, whatever. Second match, the losers got to change their ships.
oh yeah, yeah,
Third match, if a third match occurred, then obviously the previous winners got to change their ships. Or build like that, and the other people were locked into what they had previously picked. So you had to kind of judge. Well, what can I pick that kind of counters that, but will still be okay against what they might pick to counter it.
yeah, and that just comes with knowing your team and watching video and knowing, oh, I did practice session with them a couple days ago and they were using this, but yeah. Well, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and close out this video. Thanks a lot, Javrak, for doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
It's no problem.
I'm hoping to do something like this some more with some more of our competitive players. Take a look at replays. If any of you guys have video of a game you've done, please send it to me, to the channel, and you know what? We'll take a look at it. We'll tell you what went good, what went bad. Ups and downs, all of that. You kind of like what you saw here and what you saw in my last video. Just do a good critique, and we'll definitely give you a shout out for writing that to us, and you will be able to email that to an email I will post in the description below. Anyway, if you like the video, press that like button. If you want to see some more videos for Guns of Icarus and whatnot, just please subscribe. And I thank you guys for hanging out with me. See you later.